I don't want anybody to get the impression that the encampment or the park that I'm at is just horror, okay? Now, a good portion of it is. It is, because when you live a normal life and you go into a scenario like that, even if you don't live a normal life, I mean, before this I wasn't living a normal life, but I was away from all this fray. I wasn't in a homeless community with a lot of other people, and it is crazy. I mean, it is a horror, okay? Daily in different ways, but there's a lot of good things that do happen too, and there's a lot of good people that are there. Now, those good people, some of them do have backgrounds, some of them do have history, you know, some of them have been incarcerated, some of them have whatever, lots of different things. And on a variety of levels, people have done kindness for one another, you know. I mean, this shirt that I'm wearing was given to me by somebody in that park, you know. The shoes that I had that got ruined were given to me by somebody in that park. He went the extra mile to get that. I've had hundreds of people in that park give me of their extra socks, or give me offer a blanket to me, an extra blanket, or, give me food. When I first got there, see, I told you guys that I live on like $2 to $3 a day. It used to be $1 to $2 a day, okay? When I was living in my van, and years ago when I first started all of this, I guess you could say, I was living on $1 to $2 a day. With inflation and everything, it ends up being about $2 to $3 a day. And I'm committed to that. But when I got to the park, people kept offering me food and offering me food and offering me food. And at first I was like, no, because I was really committed to sticking to my guns and sticking to that structure of my budget. But then they were throwing food away. Then they were throwing a lot of things away, and there was a lot of waste, and that's really hard for me to deal with. I do not like waste, whether it's clothing, whether it's other items, whether it's food, whether it's whatever it is. I don't like things to go to waste, and go to waste because people misuse them, mistreat them, don't take care of them, so you just waste your stuff, or they just hoard it and then throw it away, or whatever the case may be. And I understand some of you watching might have those tendencies, and again, that's not me trying to judge anybody. This is just me telling you how I am and what my idiosyncrasies and characteristics are. So it's very hard for me to watch that. So they would offer the food, and I would say, no, I wanted to make sure they ate it. And then after a while, seeing the amount of volunteers that come to this park and put food out and put clothing out and putting all this stuff out, and then somebody wearing the clothing, for example, and then just getting so filthy within like 3 or 4 or 5 days, and that piece of clothing that I know, like let's say it's Roxy or Abercrombie and Fitch or any one of these like name brands, I know that is an expensive item of clothing, and it only lasted 4 days, and now it's just trashed. Like there's no way to rehabilitate this. That's clothing. Then you're talking about shoes, right? The amount of shoes that have gone through this park, I could have taken any one of those, but other people take them, and within a week those shoes are just, so it's hard, because I'll make things last for a really long time, and I only take the bare necessities of what I need. So when it comes to the food as well, man, it's just, the volunteers will just come and they just plop it. Sometimes they don't even plop it on the picnic bench. Sometimes they plop it somewhere in the parking lot. sometimes on the other side of the park so nobody sees it for a really long time. Sometimes they walk up and they give it to somebody in the park and, oh yeah, you'll distribute this. And that person has no intention of distributing it. They don't do that because you just gave it to one of the people in the park that's a real hoarder, you know? So then they'll put it in their van or they'll put it in their tent, depending on, you know, what apparatus they're living in. And people kept offering me, and so eventually I would take it because, you know, I just felt bad for the waste, right? So I decided I would get off my budget for a while, get off that idea, and instead of just taking what the volunteers came in and brought fresh, you know, I felt like that should go to other people first, but anybody who's saying, hey, if you don't eat this sage, then we're gonna throw it away. So I would have a lot of people in the park, they'd take what they want, and then if they weren't gonna eat it and they were gonna throw it in the trash, then I would eat it. You know, because again, I don't like the waste, I don't want it to go in the garbage. But the problem with that is I got food poisoning like 3 times just in the last month. So 2 bouts of the food poisoning wasn't like death. But the third one felt like it. That was terrible. And man, I was in a lot of pain. I was puking and just everything everywhere. So, but the point of this video was actually to share with you that people are very giving, whether that giving sometimes, you know, hurts you in the end or whatever, but you know, people are trying to look out for each other and help each other. Some of them are, anyways, some of them, not all. Some of them are trying to help each other and look out for each other, and you know, and I've been blessed by that. So I don't want you to think that it's all selfishness or all terror and injury and things like that. Man, I've had about 4 or 5 people walk past me. There's some people hanging out right there right now. I'm probably gonna walk past. It's really hard to do this in public because of that. This is so awkward. It's so awkward, and yet I'm like in the smallest corner where I thought nobody would come. It's not a real walkway where I'm at, but anyway. So, and now they've lost their way because it's not a real walkway. They better not come back. There are about 4 or 5 other paths to get out of here. Anyway, so yeah, because I've decided to accept the food and accept some of that stuff from people, I've had food poisoning 3 times, but I've also spent, I want to say, $6 on food in the last 30 days. That's it. Yeah, $6. I have to tally that to see if there's, I think it's actually like $6.45. I write them all down. I write it all down, so I'd have to tally it, but I think it's $6.45. So, yeah, but I've been gifted a blanket. I've been gifted this shirt, like I said. First pair of shoes, second pair of shoes. I technically got these pants out of the garbage, but they were gifted to somebody in the park, and I don't know why somebody threw them in the dumpster. A lot of good clothes were in that dumpster. It just makes me sick. So somebody was even gonna gift me a bicycle, but I ended up not taking it. I could tell it was stolen, and I'm not going to be here forever. So the last bike that I had, I bought for $25. It was a huge investment for me. It lasted 48 hours and it was stolen. So anyway, there are good people everywhere, and there are bad people everywhere. So